Hi, welcome to this video on creating A-grade PEEs for your upcoming controlled assessment. This one is on Curley's wife is presented as a sex object. So here are the topics my class have discussed in the classes. This video is looking, like I said, at her being portrayed as a sex object. So please do not talk about plot, otherwise this will happen to you, the guy in the red. If you just talk about plot, you're not going to get above an E. You really got to analyse language. So the perfect PE, you're looking at point, evidence, explain, which you've probably done to death in your classes. So make a point, give a quote to back up your point, and then say why your evidence proves your point in the explanation. But what we're going to add is we're going to zoom in on a word or a phrase or even a couple of words, a couple of phrases in the quote, and we're going to discuss 1930s America. Here's the quote we're going to use. I've seen them poison before, but I'd never seen no piece of jailbait worse than her. So we're going to talk about that, how that portrays her as a sex object. So like I say, my point is Curley's wife is presented as a sex object in chapter 2. Please do not go overboard in your point. We don't need a 3 or 4 line point. Really simple, really clear. If people get their point evidence and explain confused, it's confusing for the reader, so make it really clear. So all I'm doing in my explanation is basically saying why jailbait presents her as a sex object. So basically I'm just explaining what jailbait is. So I'm saying it's a woman who is classed as sexual, who is under the age of sexual consent, basically who's going to get a man into trouble. Okay. Then I'm going to zoom in. So the words that I think we can zoom in on this quote is poison, and I think we can zoom in on the word never. So poison, first of all then, we're going to zoom in on poison because poison kills people. So if you put down poison for mice or a rat or whatever, it kills them. So basically what Steinbeck is saying, or warning to the reader, is that Curley's wife is poison, that she may end up causing death by the end of the novella. And then we're also going to zoom in on the word never. Steinbeck could have just said she's jailbait or she's poison. But he's saying, I've never seen something like her. So remember, George is an experienced person. He's been on different ranches. But the fact that he's never seen anything like her shows us that she's unique. So we can say that's George's face. Shows that this person is unique. And then we're going to talk about 1930s America and just talk about the fact that women, unfortunately, were second-class citizens and were seen as either sex objects or mothers and wives. So if we put that into a paragraph then. Point. Curley's wife is presented as a sex object in chapter 2. Then I've got my quote. Then I'm going to talk about in my explanation why that proves she's a sex object. Jailbait is a term for a woman who is seen to get a man into trouble by using her sexuality. It is also a slang term for women and for a woman under the age of consent for sex. Then I'm going to zoom in. So one sentence for each one. The use of the word poison suggests she will be a dangerous character, as if you give a poison to an animal it will die. And I'm going to zoom in on never. As George has travelled to a lot of ranches, the fact he says he has never seen a woman like Curley's wife suggests to the reader she is something unique. So I'm not going absolutely ballistic. I'm not writing loads and loads. All I'm doing is one sentence for each of the things I'm zooming in and just basically explaining why Steinbeck is used to use that word. Then I'm going to talk about context. So these terms were commonly used in 1930s USA, as women were generally seen as wives and mothers or as sexual objects. So I'm basically just explaining 1930s America and why women were seen as second-class citizens. And then all of that is put into a paragraph. So remember, normally you might just do up to the green font and you'll be looking at a C or D. However, if you add the pink, add the blue, add the zoom in, add the context, you're looking at a B or A grade paragraph if you do it correctly. So just remember then, point, evidence, explain, then really importantly, zoom in on words in the quote, discuss 1930s America. Hopefully that's been of some use to you. Any problems, drop me an email.